Our second poet up, Deborah McGinn, is a sidekick of Shar's. She has been involved heavily in the last 27 plus years at Lincoln High with the creative writing program. The last 4 years have been almost exclusively slam poetry. I think that's probably on her mind 12 months a year, not just 6 months a year, 12 months a year. And she is the one that brought slam poetry to the high schools in Lincoln. She is the one that has a team that won state twice so far. A great bunch of kids. I've been there about every year to listen and watch and hear these kids. It's amazing. This is a place where kids can excel. They don't have to be a right tackle or a forward or a guard or great at volleyball. They can learn to juggle words and spit them out at you, and you enjoy it. Believe it or not, being spit at, that's an expression in slam. Spit that poem, get it out there. People in the front row might know that might be a literal occasion. I'm not sure. But I do know that Deborah McGinn's courage and her generosity has meant the world to many poets in this town and around the country. So, along with that, she tries to write, as she says, tries to squeeze in some time to put words together. Well, that's difficult. Most of the people that I know that teach writing have a terrible time also putting out something of their own that doesn't get all tangled up with the 27 or 28 poems they read the night before and the 35 or 40 poems they are going to be reading the next night from someone else. Accepted this. She is going to give you a little preview and a little bit of what she's been working on, my friend Deborah McGinn.
Thank you so much, Rex. And thanks to everyone who came out tonight, my great poet friends and writers, and my friends from the Nebraska Writing Project last summer, and friends from Tuesdays with Writers, and my family is here, and thank you, Mojava. Just thank everyone who's in this room for coming out to support us tonight. Rex, I have been teaching for 33 years. Let's get that right.
I was being generous.
I hear it's only 20 plus. So.
Yeah, I know. You got to step that up because, I'm not getting older or anything. I just have earned. But yeah. So anyway, so I have a really good friend that I haven't seen, two good friends that I haven't seen for more than 30 years. And one of them is Leslie Brown, who is my old babysitter. And I don't know how we got her to a poetry reading, but I hope that we do a good enough job that she'll want to come back again. And this beautiful lady here, I know her as Leslie Pesic, and I'm going to be reading something brand new about her brother tonight. So, but first I am going to start with Prince. We lost Prince, and his autopsy came out today, much to our surprise, not to our surprise. He died of addiction, and I understand addiction, and he called out for help, but died a day too soon for help to arrive. And so I loved him, and I met him in Minneapolis. His limousine was stranded on the side of the road, and he needed to get somewhere. And I was on a city bus trying to get to galleries, and so he got on our bus, and he sat with his bodyguard right in front of me. And celebrities are just people, so of course I said, "Hello, my name is Deborah, and I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska, and a real fan of yours." I wish I would have said something a little bit more prolific, but that's what sputtered out. And he turned to his bodyguard and he said, "Will you please tell her that it is my pleasure to meet her?" like he was dissing me, he said it in those low, sexy vocals. And then I said something else, he turned around and he gave me his business card, which I still have. And so then they took him to his destination first. And when he got off the bus, he just kind of turned to me and gave a half wave, and his bodyguard crouched down and said, "I don't want you to think that Prince is a snob. He is just eternally shy. What you see on the stage is his persona, and he's been mobbed before." So I really appreciated that little bit of news. So when he died and I was in the computer lab with all my students, you get those little flashes from the Lincoln Journal-Star, and sometimes I stop what I'm doing and acknowledge those. So this poem is called "The Love He Showers on Me." How easily I am caught off guard. Prince dies, and I get a strange pulse that radiates disorder under my skin. I unpack lyric and video from a wide screen, leaf through my closet for anything purple, not my color, but Prince dies, and I want him around my shoulders. I see his side eyeliner flirt with the audience, and I imagine it's for me. I recall the black scarf on his head at the rainy Super Bowl, electric guitars, no electrocution. He uses the rainstorm like a dramatic prop in his show. He tosses his scarf to the crowd, and I wish I'd caught it. Then he slicks down his hair, shrugs his collar cool-like, and sings on. I caught his persona years ago, the sound of deep vocals, shrill and high. I caught his naughty images in red Corvette, blush it away and dance hard. Prince rattles my all too often subtle self into a more prominent, wilder self, the me I want to be. He dies, and I fan his CDs out on a bedspread and push play, loud, and move like Prince as I shape my new short hair. When the disc plays Purple Rain, I imagine slow dancing. In my slinky black dress, I am privy to the emotions he strums, the words he curves, and I get to be the woman who notices his pretty eyes, his moves, his small body on a big stage, larger than all the waters in Minnesota. And for anyone who has ever gone through the process of losing someone to Alzheimer's, it's called Annie. The clarinets are coming at 3. Annie is a nickname. Her middle name, actually, this is for Georgia, my dad's significant other. I found I could say things with colors that I couldn't say in any other way, things I had no words for. Georgia O'Keeffe. The clarinets are coming at 3, she says, marching down Rockhurst Drive, performing at a coffee house. We never know for sure. She arrives home from the East Coast, happy to see relatives again, yet miffed at tightened airport security. It isn't fun to fly anymore, she says. Her plane never leaves the ground, though the next morning she lands home safely. We let her tell it. Clarinets can play out of darkness as easily as dreams. We let her speak softly, grain bins her father built, the one left standing, easels of her paintings upright in the living room, an open window without screens. Lately, the pictures fall into the hands of someone she used to know. You are the artist, I say. Her eyes doubt me until I clap my hands like she is on stage, like she is Georgia O'Keeffe with softer tones, like she's hit a patch of turbulence until morning arrives and she's flying again. And in the Lincoln Journal Star today, Nancy Hicks did an article on dogs with popular names. Well, she interviewed me, but Spinelli did not, my dog, make the article. Right? Okay, so, but this little dog has changed my life. He's excellent therapy for my mom and for Georgia and for all of us who live in my house. But I'll tell you, I teach ninth graders in the IB program, International Baccalaureate, and I kind of feel like I'm one of those gifted parents who needed to get, like, I feel like my dog failed the angel dog test at Madonna. and that just can't be. But he did. And so, it's their loss. So it's called My Dog Spinelli Fails His Angel Dog Exam. He stands uneasy as thousands of porcupine needles cascade inside a rain stick. Then he inches near it, comes to me for reassurance. The golden retriever of 70 pounds gets a scolding from Spinelli's couch near our picture window. The 11-pounder settles into the cushion as Big Dog passes, and I say gently, "No bark." He jumps up when insects leap from the grass, comes to my calf for a pat. He doesn't flinch at the bombs on July 4th, yet he'd like to tackle the rabbit who lops off the heads of Tulip. I draw the leash shorter and he looks up. In his sleep, he woofs. His little legs dash to the side, dreaming of squirrel chase. I pull him near for snuggle. He knows not to disturb water drops suspending on spider webs, though is quick to retrieve the loose sun chip from my plate. I watch him bark at a beer bottle on the street like it's a threat to my sobriety. I'd like to crawl inside his mind, to comprehend his endless hunger, figure out his seamless energy that lures him to run in a fury in his fenced-in yard, and the obstacle course in the basement. He visits patients on special permission at the hospital. They spirit up from their pain to welcome the joy he brings. Yet, he fails his official exam to be an angel dog when a giant Irish setter scares him and he barks. So close, the judges said. It is not in the rules to scoop him up. He cannot visit again. In real life, I spare him stress. Like this morning when we spot a fox sprinting 20 steps from us to the backyard of the Quigley house. I scoop him up when he barks. And with a little love, the moment passes, tail wags. And I come from the South Mill on South 48th and Prescott, and that's where Tuesdays with Writers has been for the last 18 years. I think we're going to celebrate 18 years. But I haven't exactly had the time to do Tuesdays with Writers every month because either I'm getting too busy or I'm getting a little older and the energy does not sustain, when I get home from work. But we will have a celebration the first Tuesday in July. But Shara and I have to confess that the dear old scuffed up floor of the South Mill has been so busy with people and so noisy with people that we found another location with the tables that don't wobble and have bigger space. But this poem is kind of to the cheating on the South Mill. And it's called I Love You a Latte. I miss your scuffed wood floor, bicycles looped over lumber, hooks and planks, ceiling of smoke, nail and dusty space. Cheating on the South Mill, home to elbow, excuse me, bodies tight, little stretch, wobbly tables, chairs like chain link fence against spine, stuffed newspaper under table legs, adjust oneself without toppling the tea mug. Here, in new open space and quiet, slick wide table and shafts of light, a paper coffee waits until drive-through customers are satisfied. Clever Wi-Fi, I love you latte invites me in. How about this one? And then I'm going to read about my friend Brian. And this one is called Was It 9th Street? All we had was a string of conversations and one brilliant kiss under a lamplight of a street I can't remember. Your deep end had blurry lines. Your face was much easier to feel. I was afraid of you, but attracted. You named yourself used, yet I crawled your shores. You let me love your body instead of you. I write this incoherent memory at a coffee house drifting. Wobbly table, barbed wire chair crushes spine. I admit to this page, I all but made up the love between us. And this is my friend Brian. As a little boy, and as a high school boy. And this piece is so new. I talked to Roy before and I said, it's so new that when I read it out loud, I stumbled. And he said, just tell them it's new and then launch into it. He said to launch right into it. So here I'm launching. For now, it's called About a Boy. When we were young, we didn't think about death or have a name for pain. We came to know at some point families of all sorts struggled, but as kids, we moved from the house to the sand pile, the house to sidewalk chalk drawings and hopscotch. We jump roped and memorized verse, from house to summer sprinklers, and we ran through. We ran right through. When prickly blades of water were too strong, we still ran through and pretended we didn't feel it. I used to sing and swing to lift my agitation into a simulated heaven. Swing up to the treetop, or try anyway. Sing to drown out cross words exchanged by parents. Swing for the thrill. Sing as loud as an introvert can, so neighbors would not notice the fighting. Even when mothers were out pinning wet laundry to lines, fathers were trimming bushes, kids were building tree houses, they acted like they couldn't hear. The treehouse boys used to make fun of my singing, but I kept lifting my tennis shoes beyond it. And it wasn't always like that. We had drive-in movies, moms and popcorn and grocery sacks, the sides oily and salty. We went to the zoo, rode the children's train and Shetland ponies, visited grandparents, and slept on flat pillows. On occasion, fathers drove us to swimming pools in hot, sticky cars, gave us goggles, tossed us in the air, and we splashed down. We played mermaid and had underwater tea parties. Learned the process of jumping, then diving. We showed off so our parents could see every move we made and bask in their pride. After a sunburn, we got shade the next few days. And for me, the swing set was set off from the sun. I had a neighbor and classmate in one named Brian Pesic. I guess he was my hero. I think he knew how to rescue me better than any adult. He was rough along the edges, though soft in his heart. He nursed sick animals and had the strangest birds and critters in his front lawn. People gawked affectionately at the Pesic house, in side view of my swing, pondering what Brian would bring next. He talked a little rough, cussed in his sentences, and he made me laugh. His father was absent. His mother had pretty eyes and warmth the size of a globe. Brian sought out fathers wherever he could find them close by. My father was one of them, but only when Brian was hungry. "It feels like a hot fudge sundae," he'd say, and they'd walk to the bridge over the little creek to the Dairy Queen. Another day he suggested a malt, cone with vanilla and dipped in chocolate, or a cold Coke. I was not jealous. At recess one day, boys were making fun of my name. My last name, McGinn, made a heartless ridicule when you added McGinny pig to it. I was not bold. I was younger, smaller, and clumsy, and like so many others, the last chosen on kick soccer teams. I must have stood there like a pincushion. Brian appeared and got wind of the bullying. "Hey, you guys, shut up. Look at her. Does she look fat? Does she look like a pig?" All but one went silent, and the one who uttered the word again had Brian's attention. One flash and the kid up. "Leave her alone." And he came over to me, tousled my hair, and asked if I was all right. "Don't cry," he added. "It's over now." There was this something between us we never talked about, but I liked him. I really liked him. One day he brought a bird to school in his backpack. He knew better, but he did it anyway. After we gave our daily offering to the mission children, he unzipped the bag and let the bird loose. Just like it was programmed, the bird landed on top of Sister Leonella's head. She looked at Brian, his half smile, his smirk. She was neither happy nor angry. "Please remove this bird from my classroom, Brian Pesic, or I will call your mother." The bird made its way across the room and back on Sister's head. "I'll catch it," Brian shouted, but he was in no hurry to do so. He liked being the academic relief. I liked him delaying math class. We snickered among us until the laughter accelerated and we could hardly breathe. I was shocked that Sister giggled and urged him to hurry up. It seemed once he captured the bird, he took forever outside. But that was Brian. Outside was far better than school. The boy ought never be caged. What intrigued Brian was not in school, but the curiosity of what was inside things. He liked to take things apart and put them back together again. He was gifted at what the earth offers a child. With his hands, he could have built the world up. I wonder if Brian Pesic would care to know that I can detangle a spider web myself. He called me a pansy when a sticky web came between the links of my swing set and a blood-sucking spider made me scream. He threw down the Tonka truck he was pushing through the sand and batted it away. "Girl, spiders can go anywhere, and anyway, they won't hurt you." He went on Tonka trucking, and I went on swinging. One night, we lost our toy poodle we called Wendy. Mother, Father, Sister Maureen, and I were bawling, and Dad was sweating with panic. Dad thought of Brian, so we walked to his house. He looked at us like, "Can't you people do anything yourself?" Then scrambled on his bicycle with her leash around his neck. My dad told us that if the dog was not hit by a car, Brian would find her. We had faith in this boy. After a while, we heard Brian's voice. "God damn it, pick up your feet," he called. There they were, in the distance, Brian dragging the little dog toward us, Wendy worn out but wagging her tail and barking, and Brian spun to a stop. We showered him with praise. He said it wasn't nothing and cautioned us to take better care of our mutt. He winked at me. Get yourself a real dog, Debbie. We schooled together at Cathedral of the Risen Christ, or Cathedral of the Risen Prison, as we were known to call it, until the 6th grade. Brian and his siblings moved to public school. I missed him. I missed having him around, messing things up and creating better outcomes. I missed my growth. I missed his growth from grade school to high school when my family moved across town. My best friend Diane Prakash remained with her family across the street from Brian and his. Many sleepovers at Diane's house and a few scarce meetings with Brian, always on the run, was all we had. I heard he got kicked out of a typing class in high school for taking it apart. He would have put it back together if the teacher had given him the chance, but the school didn't. Gaps grew over time without our even noticing. On Christmas Day, 1976, there was a brief notice in the newspaper about a boy larger than life. Quote, Brian Pesic, 18, died instantly when the pistol Terry Pratt was holding discharged during a quick draw contest between the two teenagers. Pratt took a lie detector test, which indicated Pratt did not intentionally shoot Pesic, end quote. One boy's name did not appear in that article, the one who took the safety out of the gun. One boy didn't tell Pratt what he had done with the safety. It couldn't have been Russian roulette. Brian was shot in the side of his head. Brian was not a drinker, he would not play with a gun, and he learned to hunt safely. We want the mystery solved. We want it all. His sister Leslie shared a dream she had when we met again recently. The night before Brian's funeral, she was sleeping, grinding her teeth and sobbing. Brian appeared sitting on a leather-strapped stool, looking directly into her eyes, like he did when they were teenagers, sharing secrets. Why are you crying? Brian asked. Why are you sad? Because, she said, you're gone. He was petting an animal, she remembered. Leslie reached out to hug him, and Brian said she could not touch. If you touch, I have to take you with me. Perhaps we hold recess in the courtyard of backyards, swing so high with the brute strength of age until the bottom falls out of the swing, until we've dragged all missing dogs home to their loved ones, stood up to bullies until they had only kindness left. Perhaps we beg God to let us visit heaven for 1 hour and take all kinds of crazy cell phone pictures with an angel with a crooked crown made of wire. We want to call on Brian. Thank you.